What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Black Line Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim. Well, hope you all are ready for a good one tonight. Definitely going to go max, crunching it down to the minute, getting everything set up. Okay. Well, as you guys come in and get settled, please do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe. It's how you can help the channel. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's see. First, we will go here. Okay, we're going to do a couple different things tonight. But when I was preparing, I came across this video and it was fascinating. And I remember here, and it's from Project Constitution. And so, but I remember already hearing about this from before. This gentleman named Mike Fry, who knew Charlie for a while and does private security. Okay. And he's telling a story here how Charlie had reached out to him in December of 2024, deeply concerned about his safety and security, was not trusting his own security team, and was wanting to bring Mike Fry on to give Charlie additional, or maybe straight up replace. Maybe not replace, because maybe that would raise, I wonder what he would have to do. Because even so, if he replaced Dan Flood and Brian Harple, that would raise a lot of eyebrows. But if he brought someone else in just to even on top of like another layer of security, that would also be suspicious. And so I think either way, it would have raised a lot of eyebrows and made it a lot of red flags. However, so he's texting Fry, and we have to take Fry at his word. Fry does say that the text messages are, there's receipts. Hopefully he comes out with them. I mean, TPUSA and Erika Kirk aren't going to show any receipts. We know that for sure, especially any receipts that show that Charlie was not trusting his own security and was looking for other security companies to, give him more personal security. But in the process of trying to meet up with Charlie and to hammer out the details and everything, a bunch of different things happened and it never came to fruition. This is a little off of everything else I wanted to do tonight, but I came across this. I wanted to share it. It's really short. I got it timestamped, and then we'll move on to everything else. But I think it's worth listening to his story. Okay. Why is my computer being funny? There we go. All right. And I'm right at yes. All right, here we go.
The Legionnaires' pneumonia. And so Charlie sends me a text one night, a message. Now, these are what I'm telling you, these are all there's receipts for in his DMs and mine. I don't have access to my old account, but in his account, they're there. No doubt. So anyway, he contacted me, and he was very adamant about me helping him with security. And he was almost like, how do I put this? The way he was what I interpreted from reading what he was saying, I could tell that there was an urgency. He was aware that he was in danger, is what I interpreted, as how I interpreted it. And I told him, I said, well, hey, we just had the election. I'm sick. We'll get together soon. Okay. Now this is like right before Christmas time. Gotcha. Well, finally on January the 6th, I ended up going down to the emergency room at Australia, Banner Health, Australia, on 92nd Avenue, here in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, and that's where they found out that I had the Legionnaires' pneumonia and stuff like that. So I told them, I said, hey man, we're going to have to put this off because I'm really sick. So we were scheduled to meet in Phoenix on the 25th of January. Okay, on the 22nd of January, as I'm still going through all this,
so this is where he talks about, and then he goes into a personal story. I'll just explain it real quick because he goes off, and I'm going to jump ahead to the other good part. He thinks that someone was sent to him to cause issues, and then the cops ended up coming and he got arrested. And he was never able to meet up with Charlie, and it all fell through. His own personal take on who the person is and why it happened, it's, I don't know. If you want to listen to it in full, go to Project Constitution and listen to it. He goes off for a while. So we're going to jump ahead to the next part, which is really interesting. Okay. Which is.
Really got heated. And he told me I had been selected for reprogramming. So then now my antennas are up like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. The fight went down. And the ironic thing is, I ended up getting arrested for quote unquote domestic violence. They charged me with a fucking misdemeanor.
Oh, so you got in a fight with the guy?
Yeah, I got in a fight with the guy because I didn't appreciate him. He was over at my house having dinner. Then he starts, talking all this crazy stuff about Trump, and then goes into Charlie Kirk and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, now I'm pissed off because I've known Charlie for a number of years. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
And so the fight goes down. Next morning, I'm arrested. So I'm in jail. Okay. That Saturday, the 25th, is when we were supposed to meet, Charlie and I. Okay. If you get into his DMs, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's all there. The receipts are there. But here's what the question that needs to be asked. One is this: what did Charlie know in December? What is it that he knew that he was so concerned that he had to reach out to me? Now, I had never done security for him. I had never done security for him at any of his rallies. Okay, but he knew who I was. Obviously, over the years, he knew what I had done. I mean, when the Courtside Liberty Festival went down, I had 3 different separate security teams there because I had dignitaries and so forth. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got shot. So he reached, that was the point. But he reaches out to me. So the question is what was it that he knew to make him reach out to me to help him with security? He even offered to pay me. I said, son, don't worry about it. I don't need the money. No, I wouldn't do that I wouldn't help you for money, And so anyway, so there's the first question. The second question is this: if that person said that Charlie Kirk had been slotted for termination, okay, Tyler may have pulled the trigger. What I'm saying is
what it sounds to me like is somebody that was in the know that knew that you were supposed to meet Charlie made it a point to make sure you didn't go to that meeting. They were intentionally sent to where you were to rile you up and to get you arrested. That way you could not keep your meeting with Charlie.
That's exactly what happened.
And that's what Mike Fry thinks. And maybe, but just that's what he thinks. Okay.
That is precisely what happened. So, like I said, the first question is, what did Charlie know that had him so urgent to reach out to me? He even offered me money after all these years of knowing him to help him with the security. There's the first question. The second question is, if Tyler pulled the trigger and this guy said this to me in December, obviously there was a plot.
Yeah, from what we've seen, they've been planning this for a long time.
Yes. So, and I called the FBI. I called the FBI in Utah. I called the FBI. I called the Phoenix FBI the day that Charlie was shot.
This gentleman has reached out, just like so many other people, to the FBI, state, law enforcement that's involved in the case. No one has reached back out to him. It doesn't fit the official narrative. I mean, it might. I mean, he said, Mike was like, I'll grant them. Maybe Tyler was involved or maybe he pulled the trigger, but still this alone, this whole, situation with him and Charlie being afraid that he was going to be assassinated kind of points to, and it could point to a different plot that came to fruition, or this one that did, that there was a greater plot with more people involved. And so at the very least, the FBI and the law enforcement officials on the case in the state of Utah should meet with Mike and, ask also to get Charlie's phone and to verify these DMs that Mike's talking about.
And nobody's contacted you from there.
And nobody's contacted me back. I contacted the FBI field office in Salt Lake City, and nobody has called me back.
Wow. Yeah, that seems to be a recurring theme here. Every one of these people that have witnessed it or I've talked to or whatever that have evidence, they say they've called the FBI or even the people that were there that day and saw it and are witnesses. They tell us that the FBI never got their witness statement, never called them, never tried to contact them. Like, I don't know how they're building this rock solid case against Tyler Robinson when they haven't even spoken to the damn witness.
No, because when you're slamming, the jail door shut and you're closing the book on something that that doesn't pass the sniff test and isn't on the up and up, you're not hunting down leads and witnesses and statements and other evidence that, if it comes to light, points in a different direction, right? Like, their job as the FBI and the people in charge, whether that's, the district attorney and his team or the state of Utah, is to seek and solidify a conviction against someone that they could prove, at least in theory and in, how it would look, how they present it, to prove that Tyler did it. That's all it is. It's not wet. It's, and our system is so messed up, you guys. It doesn't really seek the truth, right? There's two different systems. There's the system for the very, very wealthy and elite. And we can see this time and time again with people that are high profile that, get charged, but never convicted because they can play the game. They got the money to play the game. And so there's a system built always to get those people out of jail free because they can pay for it. But people like you and me, sorry. And the way that those in the system seek convictions and charges against common people, it's not really whether or not you're guilty and whether they're looking to prove guilt or innocence. They're just looking to convince 12 jurors beyond just a reasonable doubt. That's it. And so the whole case gets built on that in mind, not like, let's find the facts. Let's find the real person that did this. No, let's find what we can show, which can convince these people beyond a reasonable doubt whether they did or didn't do it. That's the whole game. And it is a game. And we're seeing that on full display with Tyler.
This is on the ground that day.
Exactly. And Tyler Robinson, let's just assume he was a shooter. And I'm actually going to believe that he was the shooter. But okay, that's fine. We can put it all on that as him being the shooter, but he is not the one that had this plot in motion because Charlie was aware of it in December. So, the little messages, little signs and so forth. But nonetheless, those are my questions. What did Charlie know that was so urgent for him to reach out to me, who was 55? I had retired from the scene as far as the Oath Keepers go, a number of years ago, actually. I tried to warn everybody about Ray F. with Stewart. I tried to tell him, hey, this guy's not good while he was there.
So he talks about Oath Keepers in January 6th. And what just happened? Oh no. Okay. Is the stream good? Oh my goodness. My tabs at the top are acting funny. Like I have to click on them and then it just, hopefully we're good. All right. Let's move to the next thing we're going to do tonight. Okay. Goodness gracious. This is frustrating me as I try to pull everything up. Here it is. All right. Sorry guys that I'm talking out loud. Hopefully you guys can roll with me as my tabs are frustrating the heck out of me. I don't know if you guys have seen this. So this is Erika Kirk. I know that Candace played a bit and it's a bit on X. I want to break some things down and I'm going to show something. We're going to talk about it. All right.
I get this question too of, well, you were a stay-at-home mom and all this stuff. Like, that's what you should go back to doing or something like that. A lot of people don't realize that before I met Charlie, I had my own company and I still do.
Pay attention to her body language, her eyes, how she can say all of this with such ease, even though now we know, because this just came out, but Candace just did her episode today, which proves that all of this is a lie. Proclaim didn't even get the domain until a month or so after Charlie, or after they were married. I think it was 21. I guess we could go watch that part of Candace. I didn't want to play the whole thing. I just want to watch this. But we know this. We know that it had 4 or 5 items of clothing only. Okay. It wasn't self-sufficient. It wasn't like she built this machine of a clothing company. Literally, the clothing company was just printing scripture verses on shirts. That's it. She had 5 articles of clothing on the website. It wasn't bringing in lots of money. It wasn't self-sustaining itself. It's not like she built this amazing thing, turned it over, and then just was collecting, money from it. So she's able to get up and in front of thousands and then however many hundreds of thousands watch this and lie.
And it was one of those things where I built it in a way where that when I got married and had children, it could run on its own. I didn't have to do day to day.
So it wasn't even fully built. It had 5 articles of clothing and didn't even get the domain for the website until I think it was after they were married, because it was after 21.
Check in, but I didn't have to do day to day. And that's the beautiful thing is, like, young women in here, if you do create a company or a business and you're an entrepreneur, build it in a way that it sustains itself so that when you do find your husband and you have children, family, that's your main focus.
Now, after we'll play this, okay? Just watch what she's doing. She's lying. She's changing. She's completely changing how she spoke about this whole idea of young Christian women, right? Whether it's before or during the early years of married life, whether they have kids or about to have kids. She's speaking about the role completely different now, because now this is what she wants everyone to believe her stance is. Charlie isn't here to argue. He isn't here to say that's not what we believe. That's not what you said before. We have her clips, though, and we'll look. It's completely different, you guys. And so everyone, whether that be Gary or Lisa or Graham, whoever it is, right, saying that she's been consistent. No, she has completely changed what she's saying now because it fits what her life is now from how it was when she was with Charlie. Completely different. And that's dishonest. And so all these little dishonesties, and then there's big lies. There should be none. There's no reason to lie about any of this unless it's all BS.
You can have your calling on the side of your company, but your main focus is your husband and your children. And there's something beautiful in that. Unfortunately, I did not see my life being like this.
Okay, but here's the thing. Erika, let me tell you something, sweetie. Hey, just for real right now. I get that you didn't foresee. Well, I don't believe that. I have a feeling you did foresee. But anyway, I'll grant you that you didn't foresee your life being like this. You're saying that about your husband being assassinated. Here's the thing, though. You didn't have to become CEO. The life insurance policy alone on Charlie at his company, at his organization, okay, I think it was $10 million. Then whatever personal life insurance policy he had, okay, all of the investments, the income that recurring income that he would be getting every month for the part ownership that in his company with Andrew Colvett, the book that just came out, all the different ways he was earning income, right? You would be receiving at least some of those, right? Maybe some of those would stop now that he's gone, but you wouldn't have to take over as CEO to provide for your family. You're not a single parent, like low income, middle income woman, okay? Your mom has plenty of money and you are now her power of attorney, okay? You were going to be fine. There's literally no argument for you to say, and Lisa tries to spout the same thing. Oh, you had to take over or else it would burn to the ground. So you don't trust Andrew. I thought he was I thought Charlie was so strategic that he made sure TPUSA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Faith was vision led, and that everyone around him, Blake Neff, Mikey McCoy, Andrew Colvett, Tyler Boyer, Terrell Farnsworth, these were all some of the smartest people he knew. He picked them. You're telling me that all of them, so they can be the best, they're the most amazing, right? And they're so smart and so talented, but not talented enough for them to just find someone else to fill the role. And this vision-led organization that Charlie cultivated would not be fine. It would burn to the ground without you. Oh my goodness.
I didn't. So when people are like, oh, she's now this role, I'm honoring what the Lord has put in front of me, and I'm also honoring my husband's request.
No, we'll look at that. You're lying. Your husband has never said publicly that he wanted you to take over as CEO. Never. You are quoting, and all these other individuals are saying about this instance at the Hamptons or at the Aspen retreat, and there was recordings, audio and video. Produce it. Show us that he said this. Candace has spoken to 2 donors that were there, both of which said this question never came. This didn't happen.
And now I have to be the sole provider for my children. And again,
No, Charlie had trust. You were set, Erika. And you just sold your house. Like now it would be like 9, maybe 10 months ago, maybe a little bit more. Maybe, it was 5 months before September. So whatever the time frame is, for $5-point-something million. You've collected personal. So what was it? Tucker raised $5.4 million just for you. And it wasn't a GoFundMe. It was give and send me or something like that, where they don't take anything out. What about all the donations that have come directly to TPUSA that were just for you and the kids? Literally, you are one of the wealthiest young single mothers that I know of. Period. You did not have to do this. You could literally just stay home and raise the kids until they went into high school or college and then took over. Man, would we have respected you. Oh my gosh, we would have respected you so much. It would have cast such little suspicion on you if you just would have done that. And if you wouldn't have changed course on everything Charlie was doing before he was assassinated. Everything with the war in Iran, him opposing, everything in Gaza, everything with Philly. If you just would have continued what he was doing and saying, and you just would have stayed home to take care of the kids, I don't think there would be any outrage. There wouldn't be any of this in-depth investigation into you. There wouldn't be any of this suspicion into you. It was because of how you completely changed course on everything. And because you chose and you framed this, that you had to step into this role and that Charlie told you to. It was his dying wish. These are the things. And now that since you've been in that role, every public appearance and every private meeting and phone call that comes to light shows who you really are. But if you would have stayed home and just raised the kids, you wouldn't have had any of these appearances, these public speaking engagements. You wouldn't have been in the role as CEO. You wouldn't have been in that meeting, that Zoom phone call, that meeting that we all saw, the audio, and now this new audio that came out. All of this would never have happened if you just would have done what Charlie truly wanted you to do.
And this is not a business card opportunity. There's
Yes, it
something
is.
very biblical and a woman honoring her husband and
Oh my goodness. She's got to use the faith card. She's got to call it into question at least once or twice during, in defense of her, right? And she's honoring Charlie. Oh, we'll look at that. We'll see what Charlie said, Erika.
stepping up and standing in. I have an amazing team. I do, and I could not do it without them. Again, my focus is on making sure my children are amazing, young, biblically aligned little humans. But again, you perspective, your life is so much greater than just this blip on a radar. And my focus is always making sure that everything that I'm doing is leading me closer to heaven, not further away from it. I get this question
I hit
too
pause.
of
Knock it off. We already saw that. That's enough. We can't see it twice. Okay. Yes, I want to go here. All right, let's listen to the phone call here. All right. And keep in mind, right? Keep in mind all of the previous backlash that she's received from the first Zoom call, the first audio call that leaked before the video one that we saw, all of the public statements she's made about her working, or at least even just the criticism she's received about where the kids are, right? And she brings them to work with her. She's very strategic in what she says in this. I don't think it's an accident. I don't think anything she says and does at this point is an accident. Looking back from her first appearance, rubbing his chair in his office, we were none the wiser then, though. So we weren't analyzing everything. We got rubbed the wrong way, and we were like, I don't. Oh man. Okay. We'll give her a chance. This is painful, but we weren't like what we're doing now, looking at it and going like, whoa, we're looking at everything. They know that. Let's pay attention to what she says here. Okay. Let me make it bigger for you guys.
Says this at Turning Point Action, we have a ton of jobs posting in Arizona, Nevada, and New Hampshire. Those 3 states are so critical for our success. We actually just locked down. Jonah just got back from there, got the keys to a new building that we have in Las Vegas, which is really exciting. So it's about similar size in this. And so the footprint is growing. Things are moving. Things are happening. But we're going to need 1,000 more people in this room this time next year to win across the country and set ourselves up for the future. So get excited about that. And without further ado, go ahead and hand off the microphone here to the wonderful Erika Kirk.
Why do they always have to have some sort of adjective before the wonderful, the miraculous, the amazing Mikey McCoy, the heavenly, the holy, the blessed Erika Kirk?
Hi, everyone. I know it's not usually normal to have everyone brought together, but I wanted to do that for a multitude of reasons. One being, I want to say something very personal and say thank you to each and every one of you. I bring my babies to the office.
Man, so she says things that are just so bizarre. Okay. So she just got given the mic, right? I mean, not actually like the mic, but like Tyler said his piece, and then he goes, "Here you go." The first thing she says, thank you guys for all being here. I wanted everyone to be here, blah, 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 blah. The first thing she says, and one of her kids is a baby. He's a toddler, but I mean, I guess 4 is 2, but one's like an infant, I guess, and 1.5. She calls them little humans a lot, calls them her babies, my babies. And look, women do, and I've called my kids my babies, not all the time. Like I call them my children, my kids, like, I don't know. It's just the way she talks. Sometimes it's just so not typical,
9 times out of 10. And a lot of you have interacted with them, and it's very sweet to me, and it's very precious to them, because then they know you guys by name, and they'll come to me and they'll say, "Did you know that so-and-so gave me a stuffy," or something like that. Thank you. That my kids are my world, and I love bringing them here because they get to see what their father built and what you guys all continue building. So that personally means a lot to me. I just want to say thank you for that. Also, I'm going to be doing something kind of like a lunch with your department style thing, because it is on my heart so badly. I would love to sit down with each and every one of you individually. I want to know your name, your face, like be able to pray for you guys and really just know you. And so since I can't do individually just yet, because that would be a long day and time and month and year to do that, I'm going to be conjoining it through departments so we can make them very small and intimate, maybe three.
And notice, like, one of the things that she said a lot in the beginning, referring to her employees and coworkers as family. She doesn't say that word anymore when referring to them or to the organization as family, right? There's a lot of opportunity in this phone call where she could have used that, right? And she didn't, because there was a lot of backlash for that. In my opinion, that's what I think. I think they added things and then they took things out, things that didn't work, things that were missing. You know, they're trying. And look, she's gonna, okay, this is my feeling, because the Make Heaven Crowded event is coming up on April 29th in Dallas. All right. She had been out of the spotlight for a minute, right? We saw her at high school in Illinois and then gone. Then we saw her at the, State of the Union, but no speaking engagement. Then she just did that Club America that we watched. And then, well, this is obviously private, but someone's leaking it to Candace, which, thank God, keep up the good work, you guys. But she's about to, I think she's going to have a lot more speaking engagements and appearances coming up in the month, like the end of March and then in April, because she is speaking at the Make Heaven Crowded event tour in Dallas. So fingers crossed, I might be able to be there. So one of the things that Candace, I think, got wrong, Erika said interacted with. Erika didn't say to her employees, when you guys are watching my kids for me. And so one of the things Candace has said right afterwards, she said she criticized Erika for not knowing the names of some of these employees. And she actually said babysitting, and these employees were watching her kids for her. That's not what Erika said. She said interacted with. Thank you guys for when you've interacted with my kids, my babies. So I don't know where Candace is getting that some of these staff were watching her kids for her. I think it is interesting that I didn't know that, like, the main building, the headquarters is one building, and then Charlie's office and area is a separate building. And so, yeah, like the majority, and it's a smaller staffed building, like his personal and like where Andrew and all them are. It wouldn't be where all the kids would be going through and meeting all these people. It would be a select few of people in this separate building that Charlie was mainly in. And from my understanding, when Charlie was still in the role, Erika didn't come around and bring the kids in a lot. In fact, there's many times he talked about not wanting that and intentionally not doing that. And so I don't even know that there's a lot of these instances, honestly. I bet some of these employees are looking around and going like, have you guys met her kids? We know that she brought them in right after the assassination for that interview, when her and her kids were walking through looking at all the gifts that were sent to them. And the kids were getting to go through, mainly the daughter, Gigi was getting to go through and like pick out stuffed animals and would get to take something home with her. That's really the only time that we've seen, that we know of, when Erika brought them to the headquarters. It really wouldn't be the time and place to bring your kids to work with you when you have really all of this to run. It really doesn't make sense, but it fits the narrative that they want. Oh, I bring my kids with me. We're a family. I'm watching, because it implies, right? Like, oh, I'm still a mom. I'm still taking care of them. I just bring them with me everywhere I go. But there's really no evidence to show that is the case, except for this this little interview, or this little meeting, this little phone call.
3 people at a time and have lunch with you guys, just to hear your heart and hear your stories about Charlie. To be honest with you, that would be amazing, and your memories with him. So that was one thing on my heart, why I wanted to also just bring you guys all together.
Okay. So,
and that's where Candace will criticize for like not knowing the names of the people that are like watching your kids. Well, she didn't say that. She said interacted with. But anyway, all right, let's move on to the next thing we got. Okay, here we go. Why is, dude, my thing is being all sorts of funny today. I'm gonna have to play with this some other time and figure out why is it doing this with my tabs. Sorry guys. All right, it's on the screen. All right, cool.
Study shows that married women with kids are the happiest. Why do you think that is? I mean, it's just nature. I mean, just becoming a CEO of a shoe company is not going to give you happiness.
Women have it so mixed up. You can have a career after children, but if you try to have a career while you have your kids, there is no such thing as balance. That is such a myth. Gigi gets those little Montessori toys every month, and there's this one that has the buckets that balance. If I put something in one of those buckets, it's going to drop down. And if I try to balance them, both buckets are filled, which is not realistic. I can't spend half of the day doing one thing. I missed out half of that time with being with the kids. So like you have to choose where your heart has to be fully with the home. You have to make that decision on your own, but you can always, after your kids are in school or after they're in high school, you can always go back to work. You can always find a way to get.
You guys see she's wearing that, what looks like the Knights of Malta cross, and it's the one that's like on the choker. It's higher up on her necklace, and then just the traditional cross that hangs down lower. But right here, this is like the Knights of Malta cross, which is just an interesting, she wears it all the time. It's like always with her. And she's completely lying right now, because the moment Charlie's gone, she does everything in complete contradiction to this whole statement. So everyone wants to know, how could Charlie have been fooled? Right here. Candace said he was naive. He had like one previous girlfriend, and the majority of the like interaction was fed through Candace, and Candace kind of helped him on how to communicate and talk with her. Okay. Aside from that, there was no previous experience for him to run this like analysis in his brain when, like, I mean, it's a pretty girl. She said she's Christian. Well, Tyler and Andrew and Mikey and Rob McCoy and Greg Laurie and Jackie, all these people are vouching for her. They all say they know her and she's a really good Christian. And then you have Tracy Martin. She's a Christian. She's married to a pastor. So all of these people seem to have vetted Erika for Charlie. He would have to defer so much of that judgment. He'd pray for sure. It doesn't look like he was given anything very clear as to caution with Erika before. I think any discernment or realization or God speaking to him about this and their marriage and the truth about her came in the last 6 months, maybe last year of their marriage. But how easy she can sit there and say all of this at the same time in that previous video, stand up in front of everyone and say the complete opposite. And she did it both times with such ease. It's just so insane that someone could lie that blatantly with such ease. For him, he would have had no way to determine that she was lying to him and deceiving him. And if he had any questions like, hey, Tyler, hey, Andrew, hey, Mikey, hey, Blake, can you guys look into this? Or what do you guys think? You guys heard her? You've seen this? Like, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? Clearly, they all didn't voice any, like, look at the glowing reviews for Erika in TPUSA, in the main group, that head group. he would have been completely lied to from all of them. And so I think it's very easy to believe why he was led astray, why he couldn't have known the truth about her.
Back into the workforce, but if you miss those precious first few years, that is so hard to make up because memories are so much more important than an added paycheck. And look,
it's how God has wired us, and it's our nature, which is to have children, not just have a bigger bank account. Next question. What means the most to Charlie coming home from the battlefield? What means most to Erika when Charlie is at home? I'm not quite sure I understand the question.
Oh my goodness. She has, for someone that has all of this like PR training, you know what she does all the time, and it drives me nuts. I have an issue. I'll just be full honest and open book right now. So I can only do it with water, but she does it without water. And you can like hear her swallowing her spit and saliva into the mic. She literally does it every time she's mic'd up. She did it on the Club America thing. I mean, it is so hard for me to listen when people are like making, noises into the mic. I've seen some pretty good comments that I don't do that, and I try really hard not to. So anytime I'm like going to swallow or breathe, I moved back or to the side so you guys don't have to hear that, because I mean, sensory, it bothers people. It bothers me. Anyway, all right, we're done with her. Let's move on. Oh my gosh, this was so good. Let's go here. So, Sneaky Phil Lyman. What a sneaky man this guy is, right? I didn't think Barron was going to point it out. And then I listened. I didn't get to finish his show tonight. I'm only playing it for these clips with, Jeb Jacoby and this Phil Lyman. Phil Lyman does mouth it. He is looking at the kid and he's nodding, and you can see he just barely mouths what the kid is saying. So let's watch it. Because I noticed it, and Barron didn't say anything, and then he did, and he caught it. So I was like, oh, good catch, dude.
He goes into full acting mode. This is this Jeb Jacoby. He begins to lay the narrative down that Charlie Kirk was shot. This is a video that went absolutely viral. We'll show you that as well. But watch this take place.
I saw Charlie Kirk get shot.
Watch Phil Lyman's.
Oh my goodness, I did. I saw it again. It's so clear, you guys. So Phil is like this. He just barely, it's more that his tongue is moving and like his teeth inside are moving. His lips don't really move, but you can see it. And the cadence. I saw get shot. And so Jeb Jacoby is no innocent actor in this. All right. And now we know why he was on that interview with Hunter Kozak. My goodness. Everyone. And we're going to do some deep dive into Hunter tonight.
Head as this guy emphasizes, I saw Charlie Kirk get shot. He has 3 emphatic syllables. Watch Phil Lyman's head as he says these 3 syllables, and see if you can see what Phil Lyman's doing as he says, I saw Charlie Kirk get shot.
1, 2, 3. I saw Charlie Kirk get shot.
You
saw Charlie Kirk get shot.
Yep.
But we'll let it continue playing because you got to see the different angles of this.
Yep.
I saw Charlie Kirk get shot. He collapsed in his seat. He fell over to the side. He was carried off.
What are they trying to establish by this?
Yep.
He got shot. I saw him get shot. You remember Jack Posobiec was very early on Twitter. I saw Charlie Kirk get shot by a leftist.
And the other thing to pay attention to when you want an idea, a concept, a psyop, a narrative to take hold in someone in the public's mind, you want to be repetitive, and you want to have a cadence, and you want to deliver it in a way that the brain, boom, puts it in. It's very strategic. And I mean, all of these people seem to be connected. And so there was dissenters at the event that did not hear what they thought was a gunshot, number one. And number two, can you imagine? So this is what we think, you guys. Well, okay, John Bray thinks this. Blake Bednards thinks this. I think this. I think Barron thinks this. I don't know what Candace actually, I don't know what she believes was the mechanism of death. I don't know if she's actually said it. I know she's like covered the plastic in the back of the car and, you know, but the shirt movement, okay? When people were at the event, all right, and everyone that was involved in planning this and executing it, it was not supposed to be a neck wound. And there wasn't supposed to be all of this movement with the shirt. Well, in the collar, there'd be movement in the shirt, obviously. They would have had to account for that with the primer explosion, which is the first, you know, small detonation explosion where it has to separate from the body before the shape charge is you know, triggered, goes off, and then it's supposed to create a wound in the chest. Maybe an exit wound, maybe not. I've heard different theories on that. I know John Bray's coming out with more, and he just came out with something on X where they did an analysis. If you haven't followed John Bray on X, go follow him and go watch that video. But when everyone there and anyone watching from that live stream back in the headquarters or in DC or in Philly, wherever they were, and they saw that, well, it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. And we got a neck wound and there wasn't supposed to be a neck wound. And the timing and the sound of the gunshot, people there were immediately saying they didn't think that there was a gunshot. So these people that were there, Phil and Jacoby and Hunter and Jack Hibbs, so many of these people that seem to be part of this in some way, all had to get on the record first. And we all know this, guys. Like, the first person to say their account of the event or of any event, or to push their narrative first and to push it from multiple sources that seem independent, that seem like these are separate, you know, sources, that they don't know each other. Phil Lyman's family members, right? We'll play the video of the mom and the daughter. They all, and then the DA, right? With the text message being so methodical, like, it was a shot. Did you hear a shot? Did anyone see it? Like, planting this narrative over and over. It was one shooter, it was one shot, and it was a bullet. Did you hear it? Did you see it? And they had to, and they got out quick. That's not an accident. They saw that what most people saw and what most people were going to witness in 4K online was not going to be very clear that it was a shot and that it was a bullet and that it was a lone gunman. Okay. So they really had to drive this home, and they had to do it quick, and they had to do it first, loudest, and the most. Okay. That's how they plant the narrative.
I saw left to shoot Charlie Kirk. There was this consistent drilling into your head of this narrative that it was, in fact, a firearm. This is Jeb Jacoby here in front of us with the black backpack, the red shirt, the white ball cap. And this is our countdown lady here in the red shirt, brunette hair. And we'll watch who was also there. Phil Lyman was there. He said, I just left. I heard boom, boom.
Yep.
And he snaps his head around and said, I heard one shot. It was one shot. It was one shot. I heard one shot.
Yep.
I just left. I'd gone up top. I was right down the back at the end of this building, and I was walking through the door, and it's like boom, boom, right behind me.
There was one shot. I heard one shot.
That's interesting. Yeah, Phil does say, I heard boom, boom. And then the kid's like, no, I heard one shot, just one shot.
Seems pretty insistent that it was one shot.
Yep.
And he seems like it's an important fact. I mean, maybe that he asked. Watch the exchange here between Adam Bartholomew and Jeb Jacoby.
Did you guys see what happened?
Yes, I saw him. Are you recording this?
Yes, you're live right now. Well, we're recording. I don't know if we're live because of the cell service.
Why would that? I mean, Okay, I could get why someone would ask that doesn't want to be filmed, right? So I could understand a student, just an innocent kid there that witnessed this legitimately and that was just answering a question from a bystander that seemed to have a mic and a camera. Like, are you filming this right now? I don't want to be on film. But he's like, is this thing on? Are we ready? Hold on. We ready? You filming right now? Okay, let's go. Ready? Scene. It's weird. It's weird that he's aware and would even ask that question. And put that in context. This is after the whole Phil Lyman thing outside. What? This kid's like, I got to get on as many cameras as I can. I got to get out there. I got to get my version out there. This kid should be questioned hands down.
Hang on.
I was standing in probably the third. Okay. I was standing from probably the third row in the bottom. I saw hit. I heard the shot ring out. I looked to my left, and then I looked over to my right. I saw him slump over in his chair forward. He slumped over. He had blood coming from the left side of his neck down his shirt, and he slumped over and he was carried off.
So who is this guy? Is this guy in the red hat? Is he the kid that wasn't really part of the event normally? He wasn't like a TPUSA chapter student. He was the one manning the mic, which is supposed to be a very like high privilege given to someone big at the chapter that leads the chapter at UVU. I'm pretty sure this is what Candace reported on early on, and I think Barron did as well. I wish Barron would have said that again, just to clarify the kid in the red hat stopping and then assaulting this other kid. And why? And why?
Get off me! Get off me!
Running.
I mean, unless that's like part of, I don't know, man, like that whole exchange is weird. I want to find out more about the kid. What does Jacoby say right here?
Therapist, and I've been talking with my family. My work actually reached out to me the day of the event, and so they provided me with a therapist because of how concerned they were about the incident.
Enough?
I've had about 150 to 160 people message me.
Oh, I skipped the other
just
one.
check
Hold
in
on.
on me, make sure that I'm doing okay.
News. This is
the one I
the
wanted to
Mirror,
play.
U.S.
Panicking. It was just an awful experience. Like I don't think anyone should ever have to go through an experience like that. It's hard. It's awful. Like I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like I'm going to therapy. Like I'm talking with my family. I've had 150 people message me in like a single day, just asking me how I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, for all the thousands of people that were there that day, the fact that you're on this many different interviews and videos is very suspicious. You do not seem to be bothered at all, even directly after the event. The only thing that you showed emotion on was when that gentleman tried to stop you from speaking, when he tried to stop you from working, when he tried to stop you from doing your job, which was to get this narrative out there. That's what pissed you off. Nothing else. You weren't emotional when doing your takes with Phil. You weren't emotional when Adam Bartholomew handed you the mic. You're not emotional here. You weren't emotional in 60 Minutes. We'll look at that. You're not emotional with that other interview, and you're not emotional here. I don't believe that you're seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist. I just don't buy it, Jeb. Is it Jeb? Yep. Jacoby.
No, for sure. And how are you doing? Like how is today compared to yesterday? And like what's kind of going through your head? I know you touched on the therapy, talking to family.
I mean, it's like, how could we even let this happen? This was a university that was founded in 1941, right before the beginning of the Second World War.
So what does that have to do with anything? What does when this university was founded, the date, World War? What does that have to do with any of this?
And right after, like many, many years later, like if you look at the history of UVU, we've never had anything like this. This is one of the safest universities in the in the country. And it's like,
so he literally could have just said that it was that that UVU's never had any kind of incident in its history. The whole, like, it was, founded and formed just before World War II. I think he said 1941. I mean, it's just weird that the things that these people say is just so out of pocket. All right. So we got Jeb Jacoby right there. And then we got Hunter Kozak. All right. Two kids that on the surface seemingly couldn't be more different. Right? Jeb, supposedly a Christian Republican conservative supporter, follower of Charlie Kirk, but connected to Phil Lyman. Okay. And then we got the Un-F America Tour co-founder, Hunter Kozak, right? Hated Charlie, literally his job. He co-founded this whole organization that followed Charlie's tour around campus events to instigate, to try to get other kids to listen to them instead of Charlie. The whole thing was set up to try to combat what Charlie was trying to do. And they put them next to each other at the same interview as if they know each other, as if they have something in common. I don't know. I found that bizarre for sure.
We wanted to sit down with a couple of students who were there at the event where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And so we met Hunter Kozak and Jeb Jacoby. Jeb was a volunteer at the event. He was part of Turning Point USA.
he meant an inspiration to me. I watched his campus debates where he was able to communicate with other individuals in a pretty professional way when it came to debates about pretty much anything. And I just found that admirable.
Yeah, this is working. Hey, Charlie.
Hunter Kozak, who would identify himself as a liberal, was there to debate Charlie Kirk, and tragically was the person who was speaking.
And I'm definitely going to spend more time, ladies and gentlemen. This young man, his father is Mormon. Hunter Kozak's father is Mormon. Okay. Deep history in Utah. Was a enrolled student at UVU at the time of the assassination. Mother is Jewish. Okay. I would bet is connected to Jimmy Kimmel. Okay. I would bet Hunter Kozak and their families, it might know Terrell Farnsworth, Tyler Boyer, these very, very well connected families within the LDS and just like the political atmosphere, or, you know, with Jimmy Kimmel, I mean, just well known. And even Hunter's grandfather and father. Yeah, definitely we'll be spending some time looking into old Hunter.
Speaking with Kirk at the very moment that the shot was fired.
Hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement.
Yours was the last question that Charlie Kirk ever heard.
Yeah, there's a strange amount of weight to that. I don't really know how to grapple with that. I mean, he's answered tens of thousands of questions, and mine that was the first question I've ever asked him. We never talked before that.
There's video of you in that moment. What was that moment like?
I thought I heard a firecracker. And
do you guys really think that this is a strained weight on Hunter, that he doesn't know how to grapple with it? And then we're going to look at the Channel 5 interview that he did with his cousin as the producer behind the camera, right? And that guy, the kid, I've seen his other stuff, because the kid from the Channel 5 with the curly hair, he did this whole like documentary on like this the tunnel system in Las Vegas, which is just insane. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. But so I know who that Channel 5 kid is. And I know, and he interviewed Hunter, right? And those are two things he's well known for. I didn't know Hunter's cousin worked for Channel 5. And they did that interview that we're going to look at next on the same day because they say it. They say it when he's interviewing the other kids.
I see his
this guy.
I see the bullet hit his neck, and
pretty important. He's well connected and has family in Hollywood, in film, in music, in entertainment. Okay. Did you guys see on the thumbnail? Let me pull this up for you guys. I found a thumbnail. The picture of him is from, watch this. And I didn't have time to look at what it's from. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. Let's look at this. All right, let me zoom in. Hold on. I'll share it. Just give me a second. Let me pull it over. All right. This. Get out of the way. There we go. Get off of here. This is Hunter. I don't know what this is from yet because I just found this when I was preparing and looking for images to use on the thumbnail. Okay. But clearly, Hunter is involved and always been interested in film, in acting, in music. He did music. He wrote lyrics. He's an entertainer. Okay. Come on.
I fall to the ground. I think I recognized immediately what this was. This wasn't necessarily like a mass shooting. This was like an assassination.
I just remember I got up and I ran and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, Charlie Kirk's been shot." And she goes, "What?" And I said, "He's been shot. I literally watched a bullet enter his neck and I watched him die."
That is bizarre. You guys, that couldn't be more bizarre than when Brian Harple said, I heard 2 cracks. I heard the shot get fired, the bullet, when they took the shot. And then Brian Harple in the Sean Ryan interview says, and then I heard the bullet smack his neck. I can't believe Sean didn't call him on that. So many others have. They have to assert over and over and over and over and over. Shot, bullet, shot, bullet. There was a shot. There's a shooter, single shooter, shot, single bullet. Saw it. You can't see a, subsonic, supersonic round, whatever, how fast. What was it, like 1327 meters per second or something? I forget the SAS sniper on the Mike Ritlin interview. How fast this round is supposed to travel. If it were a 30-06 round, you would not see a bullet enter his neck. I literally saw the bullet enter his neck. No, you didn't. Why are you saying that? Oh, so this is what Hunter and Jeb have in common. We got to get this narrative out there. We're on the same team. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like to me. What does it look like to you guys?
In front of me.
Right in front of me.
Jeb, this event pushes Democrats and Republicans farther apart or brings them closer together, in your view?
I think the moderate Democrats and Republicans, I think it brings them together. I think there are individuals on both the left and the right, some of them more radical, that it pushes them apart. And I think it's communication that is the most important element that comes together. And I think that there needs to be effective communication between both parties in order to find solid ground on this issue.
I think that that's one of the few things that we can agree on is this necessity for a conversation. I think that we need to remember that we still have to live with each other, that these are still our neighbors, that this is still my community. And when I walk to campus, sure, that event was 99% Republicans. Everyone in that crowd disagreed with everything that I had, but that was still my school.
So think about that, guys. And somebody else pointed this out too. If this kid, this lone gunman, was really mad at conservative Christian Republicans like Charlie, that means all of the adults and all of the college students and young kids in the crowd that were Charlie Kirk supporters were equally as guilty as Charlie was for whatever Charlie did. These kids are there cheering, Charlie, USA, USA. You want me to believe that this kid was going to risk it all? This 22-year-old kid, he was so angry. Some hate couldn't be negotiated out. That means everyone in the crowd that could be the next Charlie. That's a supporter of Charlie that posts Charlie's content, repeats his tweets, retweets, and then quotes him. All of these other people in the crowd. So, but he's not going to shoot any of them. He's going to risk it. He's just going to shoot Charlie, and I'm done. No way. No way. A kid that's lost it to that degree, that is willing to do supposedly what Tyler did, would risk all that only to do that. There's so many different aspects of this thing that just don't add up. And we got these two disinformation artists, here telling us, oh, but we saw it. We know. Trust us.
You both witnessed what happened. Your message to the country is what?
I could run down the list of all the disagreements that I had with Charlie Kirk. I could say that his policy proposals brought harm to this country, but I think he would probably say the same thing to me. But I do think that part of living in a society is not resorting to violence. This shooter is 1 in 400 million Americans, and he doesn't speak for us.
I think it's that we need to remember that we're still human.
All right, these kids are so not worth. Here's the other thing too, and we'll look at it in the Channel 5 interview, where Hunter Kozak inaccurately tries to frame that argument that Charlie had, counting or not counting gang violence. Hunter's going to frame that in a way that is dishonest, that totally discounts what Charlie was actually asking, and actually doesn't restate it in the way Charlie was saying it. When you say how many mass shootings have been perpetrated by people that were transgender, and you ask that to Charlie, and he goes, well, are you counting or not counting gang violence? We heard Barron and others, many other people have, and I think Zach and a couple other people, Zach Costello, pointed this out. A mass shooting is determined by how many victims there are. And so, yeah, you would want to rule out some of these other situations where it clearly wouldn't be a transgender individual perpetrating it. And it's technically a mass shooting because it's more than 3 or 4 victims. But is that really what Charlie was talking about? Is that really what you're asking? And when you did your statistical analysis, you knew that, dude. You're so dishonest, Hunter. Before I show that, I want to show this because I found this. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. I found a very recent interview of Turek. And it's only going to be a second. Let me see my timestamp. Where is it? There we go. I got it. Let me pull it up.
And now I'm back, back to Jesus. Thousands, if not millions of people have come to faith over this. If we were to ask Charlie right now, would you undo all that? He'd say no. That's what my life was about anyway.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Right. Now, obviously, he didn't want to leave his wife, Erika, and his kids, but look, he knew the most important thing is eternity.
Charlie, if he knew what was going to happen to him that day and that he would be literally murdered. Oh, but supposedly, look, I don't think, I can't say for certain, but you know, TPUSA is being dishonest about a lot of things, and they're claiming all of these conversions from the memorial, people that gave their life to Christ, and I bet there's some. You guys really want me to believe that Charlie would say that's more important than getting to be here on earth with his wife and kids? Because even if his death did bring some people to Christ, so did his life. And that event is one day that literally would only be having that amount of effect on people in like a 5 to 6 month period, maybe a year. But he was 30 something. He still had like 40, 50 something years left in him. He could have brought way more people to Christ with his remaining years on this earth than his death. And so for Frank to get up there and say that Charlie wouldn't change anything is so insane. It's disgusting. Charlie was willing to die. He said he wanted to be remembered for his faith, his courage of faith. But he didn't have a death wish. Yeah, no, he didn't want to die. And he didn't have to die. Okay? And for the people that came to Christ from his assassination, he could have easily, in the rest of his life, brought way more people to Christ through his life and through the reach of his ministry, his evangelism, and everything else that he would have had left to do. So, freaking turd Turek. Okay, hold on. Here we go. All right. Let me check in with you guys. Let me read a couple super chats and see how you guys are doing in the chat. All right, we got Mystic for a super sticker. Thank you, Mystic. And we got Jim Bear. Thank you, Jim Bear. Thank you, Mystic. If you guys have any questions on anything, throw a super out and I'll read it when we get to it. I'm going to get back to it. Is everyone doing good in the chat? We are loving it, Matt. Okay, cool, Jay. Frank Turdkey. Yep, Matt can check the total. Check the total what? Excellent point. The total. The total of what? At Jay, I think he asked if she would. Oh, you guys are all talking about something else. Okay. All right. Let me keep going. All right. Yep. Preach, Jim said. Okay. Well, I need to make sure I make my face not the whole screen. All right. Ready? Man, these tabs at the top are annoying me tonight.
I was in the middle of debating Charlie Kirk in the middle of the assassination at Utah Valley University.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America?
Oh, I don't want to show that.
About the statistical analysis on trans shooters. And sort of the point that I was trying to make was that it's sort of a statistical outlier, that they're extremely underrepresented when it comes to how peaceful they are. Obviously, that question, pretty ironic given.
Yeah, very ironic. Okay. And you're lying. It's not an outlier. Okay. If you would have taken into account what Charlie said, okay, it's actually a good majority have been perpetrated by those that are struggling with, transgender. Okay.
It was given. Yeah. So I mostly came in there because Charlie's very open about having some sort of dialogue or some sort of conversation that, you know, he believes in engaging. And I'm pretty on the record of how much I disagree with him, but I do definitely respect how much he's willing to platform voices to ensure that, you know, at least some semblance of a good conversation can come out of it.
Mm-hmm. And as far as these like statistical anomaly thing when it comes to trans shooters, is that in response to the way that him and Turning Point were framing that as like a big issue?
So it was about 3 weeks ago. There was a trans shooter at a Catholic church. Charlie made a bunch of tweets basically saying, like, when are we going to start noticing that this is a trend? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting my math degree at UVU. That was my university. And I was like, there's an answer to that. There's, you know, we can determine if there's some sort of outliers. We can use p-values, things like that. And I was like,
is it weird? Okay, well, first off, he's going to start trying to use terminology to make it sound like he knows what he's talking about. But it all doesn't matter, because when you take into account counting and not counting gang violence, it changes the whole outcome of what he's talking about. But so this kid was a current student at UVU. Like, I mean, there's just so many different synchronicities like that all of these characters have in common, and that they all know each other, know someone that knows each other. They're all connected, and they're connected to Utah, and they're connected to UVU. It's not a coincidence at all.
According to the data, it really doesn't pan out that there is a trend here at all. So I kind of made a video calling him out a little bit and saying, hey, I want to come debate you. I want to come do it. And a lot of people were kind of encouraging me. So I kind of wanted to come and have my, I guess my little audience see that.
Mm-hmm. How was the energy whenever you arrived to the event?
Very conservative, for sure. Everyone was very energetic, chanting Trump, chanting USA.
Get comfortable. Bring the best libs that Utah has to offer.
There was a line of liberals on the rooftop who were holding like pride flags and I think some like Palestine flags and things like that. And, you know, there was
and they weren't above Charlie, because that was designated a temporary criminal trespass zone. So they weren't directly up. They would have been down a ways on either side. But I think it's interesting. Every single one, the only one that doesn't have creases is the American flag. But the Black Lives, the NATO, and the LGBTQ flag, and I can't really see the other two, there's stuff in front of them, all look like they were just taken out of the box or the wrapping and were unfolded and put up just for this event, just for this interview.
A little bit of taunting back and forth, but not very out of hand. Most of the debaters were either like asking questions like who's better, LeBron or Jordan, or like some like theological debates about distinctions between like Mormonism and Christians.
That Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the third day, and he is Lord and God over all. Christ is King.
But also, the event lasted, I want to say 20 minutes, maybe. Like, I really didn't get a good finger on the pulse on what an event would really look like, because, I mean, I showed up fairly early. I was the second person to speak there. So, like, you know, the first person was maybe 10 minutes, and I maybe got, like, less than a minute in. So.
Could you give us kind of a recap of how that conversation with Charlie went?
Sure.
Yeah, this is working. Hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement.
So it was, I came in and I said, hey there.
Wait, let me go back, because I can see the kid talking to him.
Conversation with
Red
Charlie
hat.
went?
Hold on.
Sure.
Yeah, this is working. Hey, Charlie. Hey.
That does look like the kid. I mean, okay, there's a lot of kid in red shirts and red hats. But the kid, he's the one manning the mic. I think that is the kid that approached Jeb Jacoby and told him to not film that, interview with Adam Bartholomew inside that ended up becoming physical. And look who we have right here. You guys see this, right? That is Rick Cutler. And you can see right here, these are normal glasses. Blake was 100% right on that. And this is a widely distributed video from that day. This is easy as seeing anything. Those are normal glasses that Rick Cutler has. So I don't know what Wolves in Finance was doing, except for, I don't know. That doesn't seem innocent. That doesn't seem innocent to me.
Hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement.
So it was, I came in and I said, hey, there was a shooting that happened maybe a few weeks ago.
Oh, you guys know what I just realized? Sorry. I just realized something, and I want to show it because it does tie in to motive on, why Charlie knew a lot about international and, national political, geopolitical. He was well informed, well educated, and very articulate, but also in scripture and the Bible. And would you believe it? Well, they had to get him out of the way for this whole war with Iran. Everything that he was opposing with Philly, his stance on October 7th, he would not, I don't think he would be supporting Trump after this whole Einstein thing. He was already being very, very outspoken about them not releasing the files, about, some of the things. And he didn't straight out like go hard on Trump, when Trump was like, are we still talking about him? But him and Tucker, him and Dave Smith were very, very clear. That guy, Einstein, worked for Philly, clearly, and probably worked for multiple different intel agencies. And they wanted full disclosure and honesty and transparency. And everything that happened on October 7th with Philly, he doubted it. He did not believe that, like, Philly didn't know, that Philly didn't call a stand down order, that Philly didn't plan it as well to give them a reason to now invade, and that he did believe that they were ethnically cleansing Gaza. He cautioned against the first intervention with Iran. Trump humored him, and it was just a 12-day war, limited strike. But after the assassination, then they did Venezuela. Charlie would have been mindful, maybe would have been okay because I think some troop, it depends. It depends. I don't know what his take would have been. But this whole thing, we have servicemen and women that have died, American citizens, wouldn't be for it. And I think, too, he was for sure never going to support any kind of putting troops on the ground. But here's the thing. Because we have so many strategic bases in all of the countries surrounding Iran, it's kind of like we already do have troops on the ground. And so any strike with Iran and him knowing how depleted our storehouses, our munitions depot is completely empty. The United States Army and military is not at the capacity to wage any kind of real war with anyone. Then they have North Korea, China, and Russia backing Iran. And the fact that we have so many bases over there with so many servicemen and women over there, any kind of real attack on Iran, like we're seeing right now, not just on their nuclear sites, would cause a full-on strike back and would most certainly guarantee loss of life for American citizens, American men and women in service to this country. And he would 100%, in my opinion, be opposed to that. Just like Candace and Tucker and Megan and Dave Smith. To be consistent, he always had so much more in agreement with Megan, Tucker, Candace, Dave Smith than he did with Ben, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Ben Shapiro, and all of them. They for sure had to get him out of the way for all of that, but also because he knew scripture and he would not be quiet about this. Did you guys hear about this? Let me make sure you guys can see it. I'll read it to you guys. Yep, you can see it. All right. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. So, Military Religious Freedom Foundation, the MRFF, inundated with complaints of gleeful commanders telling troops Iran war is part of God's divine plan to usher in the return of Jesus Christ. This morning, our commander opened up the combat readiness status briefing by urging us not to be afraid as to what is happening with our combat operations in Iran right now. He urged us to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan, and he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of Jesus Christ. He said that President Trump has been anointed by Jesus Christ to light the signal fire in Iran to cause Armageddon and mark his return to Earth. Yep. MRFF has received over 200 calls from more than 50 military installations across all the services since Saturday, reporting similar disturbing pronouncements from their Christian zealot commanders. MRFF active duty NCO client writing on behalf of themselves and 15 other unit members. And you can look, this is being reported in multiple different publications. It's not fake news. Charlie would have seen this right away and would have been on air. No. He would have had major issues that if this is coming from commanders, then that was given from someone above them, ultimately from the president, from Hegseth. Because if Hegseth and Trump don't come out and say, no, we did not tell any of the commanders to say this, they need to come out with a public statement saying that they did not sanction this. Like, they did not agree to this. They did not know that these commanders went rogue. If they don't make any kind of public statement, like telling that they need to retract, that these commanders need to do an about face, Charlie would have seen this. And I had a feeling they were going to frame this war as like the war to end all wars. Armageddon. Antichrist and Jesus Christ are coming back. Biblical prophecy. This is exactly what Jack Hibbs and Greg Laurie have been saying on the pulpit since Sunday just after the first strikes in Iran. Everyone is getting their marching orders. Everyone is getting their talking points. All of these mocking pastors, I guarantee you, if we go look up what Rob McCoy has been saying, Frank Turek has been saying as well, that's coordinated. That's not an accident. Charlie would have known most of these individuals. He would have had such an issue with this, you guys. People perverting scripture and weaponizing our faith and our religion and our hope that Christ is coming back soon. And maybe it is coming back soon, but for them to, I mean, what about all the servicemen and women that aren't saved? And what makes them think that that's okay to say this? Period. No one will know the day or the hour. And yeah, there'll be signs. And yes, like in the days of Noah. But no one will know the day or the hour. But all of these people in control and in power are framing this to manipulate all of us. Charlie would not have been okay with this. And I think this was going to be the plan, to frame it this way from the beginning. Oh, but Charlie's alive somewhere, guys. Charlie's alive. That's what Jesse and all of these other talking heads are saying. And he's okay with this. He's okay with all of it. He's part of all of it, because in the whole Charlie's alive theory, Trump's in on it. The feds are in on it. JD Vance, Erika Kirk, TPUSA, everyone that we've been suspecting as being in some way, shape, or form involved in the planning and execution of the execution of Charlie Kirk, Jordan, Algeist, Kelly, Jesse, are all saying Charlie planned this and is running this from behind the scenes. That's why I'm not going to, tiptoe around this. That is disgusting. And anyone that thinks that of Charlie didn't know Charlie. I didn't know him personally. Okay. But you know what? I don't think I need to. And anyone that says, oh, you had to know him personally to know. Okay. Well, I have a pretty good feeling as to my understanding of what I perceived as a very honest and Christian person. You're saying in defense that Charlie's alive, that Charlie could have been so dishonest that everything he did publicly was a ruse, and every statement and every appearance he did was an act. Because if it wasn't an act, then we do know Charlie. Then all of us that watched him for thousands of hours, we know him. He was consistent. He was who he said he was. So the same people that are saying he's alive and running this whole psyop from behind scenes are the same people saying that just because I didn't know him personally, how could I have any kind of informed opinion on this? Well, if Charlie was an honest, straightforward, transparent person, Christian, then we did know him. We did. And I can say that from an informed position that he wouldn't do that. If anyone's trying to pervert, taint Charlie's legacy, who he was, it's anyone spouting that Charlie's alive. Gary's okay with it. Gary goes, I'm okay with Jesse doing this. You know what Gary also did? I wasn't going to play it today because this was going to go long enough. I was watching him and Lisa knows. Lisa don't know. Gary don't know. But someone wrote in. Oh, no, I just lost it. What was it? Oh, that's right. Someone wrote in and was like, what do you have to say about Valhalla, Nate, Valhalla VFT, all the craziness he's doing? And I don't know because I don't watch Nate anymore. But Gary goes, you know what? He's a fellow brother. I don't agree with everything he does, but I'll never say anything bad about him. I'll never publicly say that he's lying or he's off course. I mean, so if he's completely out of pocket, making things up, being completely off base, which I don't know what this person's referencing when they put in this super, Gary's going to have blind loyalty to him. And Nate does with Jesse, and Jesse does with Nate, and they both do with Gary. And why is Barron not? Why is Barron protecting and defending Jesse, making excuses for why Jesse's doing this whole manufactured martyr thing? And Jesse has someone high up in the FBI that was third in line. That's his right-hand man. All of those individuals Sorry, I didn't mean to shake the table, the desk. Everyone can make up their own decision about them and about me and whatever. Okay. I'm just telling you my opinion. That's it. Take it or don't take it. It doesn't bother me if you don't believe what I believe, but yeah, I think, yeah, Valhalla's still drinking. Yeah, he drinks. Yeah. I just don't trust any of them. And the fact that they all like know each other, have each other's numbers, are calling each other, they're telling each other like what to do, what not to do, what order to play their content in. They're all coordinated. They're coordinating about their content. And Gary's part of that coordination. And I don't know in what way, but Barron is a little bit with Jesse. I don't want to think that like anything about Barron. I don't. Or Candace at all. I just want to see them doing what they said that they set out to do. They have the ability to really investigate things, right? Why aren't we looking into the things from that day? Yes, all of this peripheral stuff and all of these actors and these participants involved matter. But why can't we get back to that day? I know once I get more time to be able to do that, I'm going to. Number two, once Blake sends me and I have the ability to start looking at things from that day, that's what we'll be doing. And this is a whole new skill for me. I'm not an investigative journalist. I don't know how to do this yet. I'm learning as we go, you know. I've done research for school, you know. But Barron is a skilled lawyer. He knows how to do this. He's got Daisy. Ian Carroll, he's doing amazing research. Him and Candace, they can do. Look at what they're already uncovering. Why can't we just apply that same process to like who killed Charlie? Just who was involved that day there, who played what role? We need to get back to, I think, what Blake and I were talking about, like who pulled the trigger of whatever detonation, what caused the actual death of Charlie. And we need to ask for accountability and charges and arrests.
In Minneapolis.
And ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans.
Do you think, is that, you agree with this? Is that a fair assessment or something like that? And he said, yes. And then I said,
so do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
And I said, there's 5. And I said, do you know how many shootings there have been?
I want to make sure he doesn't show that next part. Okay, I don't think he does.
I think maybe my memory's a little hazy. I haven't rewatched the videos, honestly. But it was something like this, which I knew the answer was, it was a little under 6,000. He said something like, we need to account for gang violence. And I think I was like, I said,
no. See how dishonest he can't even. And this is the same day, ladies and gentlemen. Hunter can't even be honest when this is just hours later. He didn't say we need to account for gang violence. Counting, you asked, do you know how many? He said counting or not counting gang violence. That changes the number. That changes the outcome. He knows that. He's intentionally changing it. He's a dishonest person. being dishonest about an event that happened just hours ago, an event that should be like seared in his memory, a traumatic event that he says is traumatic, but then he'll laugh about it. How he's the last person to ever actually exchange words with Charlie, and he can't remember something he just said a couple hours ago. Like he didn't also see it on TV all the times it was replayed throughout that day before it was starting to get censored on YouTube.
I was in the middle of saying, great, did you run a statistical analysis?
Nope. You just said great. We'll never know what you were going to say after that. I guess we have to take your word for it. I guess we have to just trust you, bro.
On that, right? Like essentially saying you have the burden of proof. And I think I was in the middle of saying that when he got shot. I went down pretty immediately, and everyone near me, everyone in the rest of my line who I'd been talking to for the last like few hours, dropped down with me. I remember I have a brother who was in a school shooting, and I was talking about the.
You guys, Barron pointed this out. Erika has a best friend that was involved in a school shooting or a mass shooting. We don't know who. Hunter Kozak's brother. Statistically, it is so improbable. Because even though they blast this all over the news and it seems like it happens all the time, and it happens way more than it should, and it feels like it happens all the time, with how many people there are in the United States, it is so rare that you yourself will be present at a shooting that's, had the potential to be a mass shooting. It was in public, and it was like what we saw. Okay. Well, shooting, because, it wasn't a shooting. It was an explosion, but they're selling it as a shooting. For him to be present, and then his brother was present at a school shooting. All of these people have family members or friends that also just happen to be at events just like this. That's so unlikely. And I believe that it's true. But why? How? Yeah.
Distinction between these, that like for me it was there wasn't as much fear as I think I would expect, because I recognized immediate, like I think I was a lot more logical than I thought I would be in that moment, where I was like, that's an assassination. He is the target. He is the only target. I am.
How does he know that? How would he even know that? And this is same day, okay? Because we know that from later on in the video. The interviewer, the guy that this is the channel, it's his channel, is interviewing other people on campus and near the hospital. It's the same day. We didn't have the shooter. We didn't have the suspect. They had already come out by this time and said that, what's his name, old man Zen, wasn't actually the real, suspect that did this. How can he get up there and say that for sure Charlie was the target and the only target, and it was just one shot, and that's all it was going to be? I'm going to show you guys something else too, but hold on. I'm going to read Renita Sophia. Thank you so much. Can you please show the chat Iran's fleet of drones they were showing off? Black Scout Survival showed them and mentioned the New Jersey drones were similar. Yes. Is that on YouTube? So Black Scout Survival. Let me pull that up. Give me a second, okay? Let's go. Hopefully you met on YouTube, right? Black Scout Survival on YouTube. Okay, yep, it's on YouTube. I'm going to his channel. And then let me see. Oh, here we go. It looks like this. Hold on, let me pause. Let me share this. Okay, give me a second. Let me make sure. Nope, that's my face. Okay, hold on. I love interacting with you guys. You guys are the best. Okay. I'll hit play, but then I'm going to hang my cursor over to see, or actually we'll just do that so I can see the drones. So that's not the drone. Let's drag it ever so slowly. Oh, Hegseth. All right, let's see where these drones are. It's in the thumbnail, so I know it's this video. Renata, do you have the timestamp that you could throw in the chat of where these drones are in this video? So that these drones right here, let's see.
Probably thousands, we don't know. And they're not just hot,
Let me
actually
back up.
worries me the most. Iran started releasing footage of massive underground bunkers filled with drone fleets, hundreds of them, possibly thousands, we don't know. And they're not just hobby drones. These things are loitering munitions, essentially flying bombs.
And I can pull up the clip. Oh, I don't know if I can play it or not. I'm going to keep playing this, but hold on. So in Dubai and I think in Saudi Arabia, these drones have already been flying into hotels and apartment buildings. These exact drones, they have already been using to fly them into apartments and hotels multiple times. It's on YouTube. You can see it, and I bet they're using it to fly them into other places as well. I'll hit play.
Now, here's the kicker. A Senate committee hearing last year revealed something very interesting, and I did a video on this. And again, let me say this before I go further. Guys, I know I upset a lot of people, but I've been told by a lot of people it's just because I'm too soon. I'm too soon, right? Things that I may say, and this is the thing, I get a lot of apologies. It may be 6 months, a year. You can probably see in the comments, there'll be a guy today saying it. People say, man, you upset me last year, but now I know that you were right. You were right back then. The thing is I'm just too soon because I pay too much attention, and I don't fly with the masses. I don't really watch anyone, so I don't get biased by any other opinions, and I do that purposefully, not because I think I'm better than any of the other commentators. It's just I want to give you an unbiased view, someone who is just like you, who works for a living, someone who has a grind, they got family.
I'll keep playing him, and I like this guy already. I'm going to subscribe to his channel. Oh my gosh, my tabs are so annoying today. Let me go here. Let me back it up. Let me make sure that. Wait, I want to let me. And I feel like there was another. All right. There was another angle from the person that was like one story below or a couple stories below, but was in that building and was filming it as it approached. And you can see it. It is those exact drones. It's those exact drones. And I think that's either in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. It's insane. I want to hear what he has to say. If he's saying that they're going to be flying them. Yeah. Like where else?
What can I gather the most information from and fill your time slot that you're giving me with the most information? Things that I find important, that I think would be important for my life as well as yours. And that's the way I view these things. I try to make these things like intel dumps, not so much content in the sense of making this an enjoyable experience. Like I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm trying to give you intel information. But again, I would say that if you get upset, just wait. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to tell you I'm wrong. I've been wrong, and I've done videos countless times stating when I'm wrong. I'm not going to lead you down the hole and then not course correct if I'm wrong. because I take a huge, I know that me giving you this information, I lead you in the wrong path. It's my fault. And I take ownership in that. So anyway, last year I did a video on this advanced drone technology. Military officials testified that China had been supplying Iran with advanced drone technology. Now, a lot of people blew this off. A lot of people told me I was full of BS. They said that it was technology they believe might actually be more sophisticated than what the U.S. currently has in some areas.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I immediately thought back to that strange, those massive drone sightings over the Northeast, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. Dozens of them. One of my viewers sent me, and these things were like flying in formation. There was one of my viewers sent me one flying over his house. And honestly, now looking back, it looked like this thing.
And people did report that they were launching from like boats or subs off, the East Coast, and that you could see them like launching and taking off one after the other, either out of like a carrier or a submarine or a boat of some kind. So that kind of tracks, especially if it's Iran and China, or Iran or China, and they were testing this in the beginning, like live, training, testing it.
Secondly, there was a cop, if you recall, they immediately snatched this video down, but there was a cop that filmed them coming out of the ocean, a female cop.
See?
She just disappeared. Nobody ever heard from her again.
Yep.
And again, the government's response was like, don't worry about it. They're just hobby drones.
Yep.
Hobby drones are not the size of Escalades, okay?
Yep, of cars.
Yeah, because hobby drones always fly coordinated formations across state lines.
Right.
Totally normal. It was totally normal that the law enforcement drones, which are like $40,000 drones, couldn't keep up with them. Nothing suspicious about that at all. And now suddenly Iran is unveiling entire drone swarms inside underground bunkers. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe not. Let's talk about that stockpile problem, though.
Yep. Hey,
it hadn't gotten
to watch this. I actually like this guy. Everyone should subscribe if they don't. Let me see what the chat's saying. I want to hear this more. Is that okay? Oh, is someone going good night? Who's going night? Well, good night if someone's going good night. Yep, flying out of the ocean. Yep. Do you guys want to see this still? Yes? I don't believe anything after 2020 yet. Who is he? He is Black Scout Survival, a former military guy. He's a veteran. Yes, you're already subscribed. Yes, you like him. I want to hear, because he's about to talk about how our stockpile is gone. We do not have munitions, and we don't have enough to actually wage a war. And the moment we deplete everything we have, Tucker talked about this, and he had a guy on. Oh, I could pull that up too. Let me hit play on this and let me pull that up. You guys are going to want to hear that.
Nearly enough attention. According to the reports, the United States has fired roughly 400 Tomahawk missiles in just 3 days. That's about 5 years worth of normal usage. 5 years gone in 3 days. Now, the Pentagon is reportedly preparing a $50 billion supplemental budget just to replenish weapon stockpiles. Now, Joe Biden gave a ton of them to Ukraine, or a ton of our weapons to Ukraine, so he depleted a lot too. So you can't fault it all in this war. We were already depleted. But what it means is two things. One, the conflict is burning through resources much faster than expected. And number two, defense contractors are about to make an absurd amount of money.
Yep.
Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, all the usual suspects. War may be hell, but it's also extremely profitable. Why do you think Lindsey Graham remains in his position?
Smedley Butler, the first commandant of the Marine Corps, wrote a book, War is a Racket. And I think Barron said it's on his top 10 reading list. And it's not a thick book, but it is dense with information. It is the biggest racket there is.
It's because he's heavily backed. Donald Trump is talking about here, about the drapes.
Service members here with us too in this beautiful building. Isn't it beautiful? We're adding on to the building a little bit. We're improving the building. See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains.
Talking about that ballroom again. Talking about that ballroom, man. He was talking about.
All right, he goes off on that. If you want to watch that in full, go over to Black Scout Survival. Let me hit subscribe. Bam. And then always when you hit subscribe, see it automatically gives you personalized notifications. You have to hit all. And then I double check to make sure it's all. All right, but I want to show you guys this. Man, my tabs are annoying. This is Tucker, and I don't know this guy's name, but we'll watch and listen to a little bit, okay?
They don't know anything. But your analysis has been.
I'm just a nerd.
Yeah, well, I have been very impressed by your grasp of what's happening. So, can you just give us really quickly the overview of where we are today? What are the big developments?
Well, the big developments, as you saw with Secretary of War, I guess he's calling himself now, Hegseth, is they're transitioning the munitions. So now the claim is that it's been so successful, this air war, they don't need to use what's known as standoff weapons. So think the Tomahawk cruise missile. And they're going to now shift, the Air Force and the Israeli Air Force are going to shift now to flying large sorties of warplanes into Iran and bombing targets with what are known as gravity bombs. And these are things like the Joint Directed Attack Munitions, JDAMs. They require you to be close to the target. So the risk factor to our pilots is now increasing exponentially. But I would just like to posit a theory, and it's just a theory. I actually think the real reason we are doing this shift is not because of realities or facts on the ground that are amenable to the U.S. and Israeli strategic position. I think we are being dictated to by the depletion of our stockpiles.
What?
And what I mean by that, I have some numbers for your audience. We all know the Tomahawk cruise missile going back to the Clinton era where he would just pop those things off, as soon as Lewinsky.
Guys, this is multiple different people saying the same thing. Okay? This is concerning. We all need to be very worried. The moment China, Russia, North Korea realize we've depleted everything, we're cooked. And I don't know if you guys went and saw James Lee, 5149, his episode today. Go watch it. The Pax Judaica. Whatever Philly has on us is so bad. We're allowing them to take us from the top position, the United States, militarily, geopolitically, and they're going to put Philly above us. Philly is going to be the new financial center of the world, trade center. People are speculating our currency is no longer going to be the reserve currency. It's going to be Philly's. Philly got us into this intentionally because the world would know we've lost it. We're weak. We don't have the ability to enforce anything anymore. This was a dumb show of strength that actually shows how weak we are. And like Tucker and others said, all of those are allies in the region that used to have this mutual beneficial relationship. They allowed us to have our bases there, but we promised we'd protect them. They got something, we got something. We didn't protect them. We couldn't protect them. We can't even finish this thing that we started. This is going to change the way everything is for forever now. I mean, I don't know how long it'll last, but things are never going to be the same. By design, Philly will take the new mantle, sit on the throne.
The Lewinsky impeachment got underway. 4,000 Tomahawk land attack cruise missiles are believed to be in the arsenal. We have been draining those since 2022, 2023 in Ukraine at a disproportionate rate. In the last 4 days of this conflict, we have expended 400 of those systems, which means that's 100 per day with the operational and tempo not ceasing. In 2026, the budget request was only for 59 new missiles. We need several hundreds every year. The reason we're getting such low numbers, Tucker, is because our defense industrial base is broken and we have no business starting a world war or a major regional war as we are in the process of doing. So I believe the real reason the U.S. and Israeli militaries are starting to get more daring and dangerous with their airstrikes is because they cannot afford to blow through the munitions that are already depleting. And it is.
Did you guys see? So I'm reading the statement about Rome from Sonia Moore. I believe we are going the way of Rome. Shouldn't be too much longer. We are, okay, the lifespan of an empire, I think it's like 250 something years, which is right where we're at. But Philly and BB themselves and himself know what Rome tried to do to Jerusalem and the destruction of the temple and all of the inhabitants there. He said, we are the new Rome. BB. And those in Philly, look at us as the new Rome. And instead of waiting for us to take them out, they've been strategic and systematic in making us weak, buying our government and our politicians, and subverting us from within, our culture, ADL, this FARA filing, surveilling us, getting us into this war. This is all strategic. Charlie would have seen the signs everywhere now. Everything that were separate data points that he would have known because he was an autodidact, he would have known all of these seemingly disconnected data points. And now all of them would have just been like, boom, 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 coming into connection. He would have been connecting the dots. He would have been, the British are coming. The British are coming. Sounding the alarm. They knew that Charlie's not alive. They had to take him out because this is huge. And once he realized that Philly was set to replace us and that Philly was going to be the new superpower controlling everything, he would have seen it all. It all would have made sense. The Einstein, everything. In light of what they're doing now and what they're about to do, Charlie would have been screaming it from the rooftops. Because they can call Candace and Megan and Tucker and Dave Smith anti-Semites, crazies, and they were doing that to Charlie as well. But we all would have been wise. A lot of people don't like Candace. A lot of people don't like Megan or Tucker or Dave. Mainly only certain individuals on the far, far left didn't like Charlie. A much greater majority loved, trusted, and believed Charlie. Him saying what Tucker and Megan and Dave Smith have been and are saying, if Charlie was here saying it, it would have changed a lot. And they knew that. Here's here's the other thing, you guys. Charlie had aspirations to save people's lives with faith, right? With conversion, with the gospel. He wanted to be president. He wanted to change the country. He wanted to save the country. He would never agree to never be seen or heard of again. He would be completely relinquishing everything that he had lived his whole life for to finally get to the point where he had this much influence, recognition, where this many people saw him and heard him. When he said and did things, it changed things. A good individual and Christian like that could actually affect real change. Charlie's going to give that up willingly, plan his own assassination, fake, and then agree to some prison of his design where he could never be seen in public. He'd have to be somewhere hidden for the rest of his life, never go anywhere in public with his wife and kids. No one would ever hear what he really thought or felt or believed. He'd never get to run for public office and become president. That he would willingly relinquish all of that. He would never be able to tell the gospel again, never be able to bring anyone to Christ. He would never be able to actually show his courage for his faith ever again. That's what he wanted to be remembered for. But everyone that's spouting this whole Charlie Kirk planned his own fake death. No.
Is in fact a race to depletion between us and Iran. And right now, I think the Iranians still have a very sizable, unused, increasingly sophisticated missile arsenal. Colonel Rob Manus is a friend of mine. He's a former Air Force colonel. He disagrees with me. He says, look, these missiles that are being popped off by Iran are basically a bunch of dead enders. It's going to fizzle out. And Hegseth made a sort of argument about that today, that there was a decrease. But I actually think that those dead enders, if that's what you want to call them, actually are probably still combat effective. And that is why we are now having to still continue the war, even though we have blown through these standoff munitions, which really were protecting our people. In fact, I got word from a source of mine who's monitoring this on open source, which it looks like the USS Abraham Lincoln is going to be repositioned to within anti-ship ballistic missile range of Iran. So either the U.S. really believes we've degraded the Iranian capabilities sufficiently, or we're just throwing caution to the wind because we got to get this thing over before we run out of materials. And that'll probably start happening this weekend.
This is not a surprise to people who watched carefully the few days in the run-up to this conflict, where there were uniformed servicemen. I mean, there were flag officers who apparently made this case.
Vice Admiral Yes,
exactly. That we just don't have the munitions to sustain any kind of real conflict. They said that, right?
Yeah, in fact, it is my understanding, and this is, again, take from this what you will. It is my understanding that last Friday, the order went out at 3:38 p.m. Eastern. Before that, there was a, quote, particularly contentious meeting between General.
I think what you meant to say, Charlie never wanted to be president, that he said multiple times. Initially, his views changed a lot over the years. And if he truly believed, which he said publicly many times, that the fate of our nation, the future of our kids, was at risk, and if so many people in government and in politics were implicated in this whole Einstein thing that seemed to have been bought and paid for by AIPAC and Philly, he for sure realized there wasn't anyone else that was ready willing, and capable, and that could get the vote like him. Who are they going to tout out for us in 2028? JD? With who? Okay, well, Frank and other people said that behind closed doors, they talked about a JD Vance, Charlie Kirk ticket, and Charlie talked about that with them. And that Frank said, and him and Rob and Mikey weren't giving up on this whole Kirk Vance ticket, but now they're inserting Erika's name into that. I do think Charlie think about it. The organization was never supposed to be a Christian one in the beginning. It was a political organization. He was always politically motivated and minded. That is what his whole SOS and the original, formation of Turning Point was. A political organization to educate and to inform the public about the process. But in the process, he developed, and as a young kid, in his his teens and early 20s, wasn't focused on being president, but no one can be president anymore until they're over like 40 or 50. For sure, he was, I think, coming of age and coming around on that.
Dan Raisin Kane, who is Trump's handpicked chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was pulled out of retirement by Trump. So this is Trump's guy. And Kane tried to get to the word to the president that this thing is not going to go like you think it is. This is not Venezuela. This is a very different operation.
Yep.
And the president, for whatever reason, still decided to ignore the best military advice he got and went forward with this. In turn, Vice Admiral Fred Kocher, who was an adjutant basically to Kane, leaked parts of that meeting to, I think it was Reuters. Now, the question that I've been hearing from people is, was that Kocher acting on his own volition, or was that in fact Kocher executing some kind of informal order from Dan Kane? Because Kane is... The rest of the military is the high level is very worried about the blowback from this operation. And it is my contention that the permanent bureaucracy is desperately trying to push blame away from itself to the politicians. And even as we're seeing Marco Rubio now, to Israel itself, which is not how a winning war would look like. There'd be no blame shifting.
So do you have any insight into how the decision was made to kill Iran's head of state / chief cleric? And this has not been a conversation anyone's been willing to have, because of course the proponents of it have been screaming about how he's Hitler, he's the worst person, if there's any question about whether it's a good idea to kill him.
So the video that you guys are talking about of the Marine, that was, I don't know where it was, but it was in some sort of chambers. He was in his dress blues, and he was a sergeant, I'm pretty sure. But he was saying he didn't want to die and fight for Philly and die for Philly and for this war. And the cops were physically trying to remove him, and he was physically resisting. And then it got bad. They fell over chairs, and then a third cop came in. So then there was 3-on-1. And then they were forcing him out, and then he grabbed on. It's like double doors, but there's a middle piece of wood where they shut and lock, and he was holding on to it. So it was in the process of all that his hand or arm got broken. Yeah. All right, let me read some super chats. I did Renata's. Let me give a shout out to Nina. Thank you for the super sticker. Mystic, thank you for the Blackline Brief membership gifted. Oh, and again, Mystic. And then another super sticker. Mystic, you're the best. You guys are all the best, by the way. Let's see. Yeah, the Marines stood. Let's see. The Marines stood at the Senate hearing and spoke up saying, "We don't want to fight for Philly." Exactly. They dragged him out of the courtroom and broke his arm. Yeah, in the process, right? That's what I saw. Yeah. Let's see. I don't think it's gonna let me click on that, but I can put. You want to watch it? You guys want to see it? Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up for you guys. Wait, what the heck? Oh no. What did it do? That's not where I typed it. What? What the heck? All right, that's the beginning. Will this show the whole thing? All right, hold on. Pause, volume, turn it down a little. Let me make sure. All right, you guys can see it. All right. The only bummer about playing a clip you haven't seen yet, you don't know what's on it. I've seen parts of it, so we'll see. Hold on.
In Washington,
Stand up as a Marine.
in Washington, D.C. today, the balance of power between the White House and Congress took center stage. The U.S. Senate
All right
voted
there.
53.
So his hand is stuck in that door right there. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I don't want to see his hand get broken.
To 47 to block a bipartisan resolution aimed at limiting President Donald Trump's war powers regarding military strikes against Iran. The vote, which largely fell along party lines, prevents the resolution from advancing, effectively giving the president backing to continue operations against Tehran without specific congressional authorization for this conflict. The debate was fierce. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer argued that President Trump is plunging America into an unwanted war, stating, quote, "The American people deserve a say." In response, Republican Senator James Risch defended the president's actions, citing Article 2 of the Constitution, which he argues gives the commander-in-chief the duty to protect the nation. However, Senator Raphael Warnock countered that while presidents have engaged in military operations, the declaration of war belongs solely to Congress.
That's true.
Adding, "To me, this looks like a war." Meanwhile, across the Capitol, the House of Representatives continued its own debate on a similar resolution. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries did not hold back, calling the strikes an unauthorized war of choice. But perhaps the most
I got to be careful when I play other people's content. There's this. So I got a message from AdFleet reported the channel. Let's see, I can show you guys. And we got our first strike, which is not good. I don't know how many strikes you're allowed to get. Because I played their video, but I'm not like the only one, so I don't really understand yet how that all works. But so anytime your content is played, it was here. Let's see here. So yeah, they reported that I used 100% of their video. It used to say it in here. I don't know why it's not there anymore. But I don't want to click on it because it's going to pull up the video and it's going to play their video. But where can I go? Because it does say that there was a strike on the channel. I appealed it, and I actually sent a message to AdFleet saying like I wasn't trying to like steal their content or take credit for it or earn money off their content. Just like so many other content creators play their videos on their streams, and they're like, this is amazing. I support them. We love AdFleet. We love what they're doing. I don't know. Hopefully they get back to me with, their response that, I wasn't trying to do anything bad,
pointed criticism came from Republican Representative Thomas Massey, who questioned the administration's shifting justifications for the attack, asking whether it
Hold
was
on.
about
I
nuclear
think
weapons.
Jimmy Dores would be better to play of this. Let's see. Let's see right here. Let's see. Hold on. Let me go here.
For Israel!
So this guy, Brian McGinnis, he's a Marine. He just had his hand broken by AIPAC-funded Republican Senator Tim Sheehy. Brian McGinnis showed up in Washington, D.C. this morning for all Americans who felt betrayed by our government starting another war. Anybody who feels disillusioned and betrayed by our government, you're not alone. Let's look.
Yeah, we're going to listen to it. Hold on, though. I was going to respond to some of your guys' comments. How do you know it's AdFleet? Because well, it says it on there, but because I played one of their music videos, just like Coach Colin does, and Ian and other people play some of parts of their video on their streams, and they're like, this is hilarious, this is awesome, they're doing great stuff. And I played some of one of their videos. And so you get like a message, and it says, well, the first one I got saying like I couldn't monetize that portion of the video. So any ads that rolled during that portion of my video, all the revenue goes to AdFleet, or it gives you options what you can do. And you could just cut that part out completely, which is what I did. It does it for you. You just have to like click the box and hit submit. Like it gives you options like how to remedy the issue. And one of the issues is like cutting it out. And so I cut it out. But then I got this message, like I just showed you guys in my content creator profile. And it, before it actually said, that they contested, they wanted it removed. And I could get a strike for playing that on my video. And I sent them an email through this process. You could like, send them an email saying that you wanted to like talk to them about it. I haven't gotten anything back yet. But I showed you, it shows it right there. So like, watch, let me show you. So under content detection, it used to say right here in copyright matches, it used to pop up right here. I don't know why it's not showing there anymore, but it'll show here in messages. It says right here by AdFleet, this is the video that I played on my video, the conservative civil war, why they're waging war on Candace. Oh, that's the video that's my name of my video. And right here, it says 100% of their video. Like, let's see. No, I'm not going to hit review the match because it'll play it. But yeah, that's how I know it was AdFleet. But I don't understand. Maybe because I'm so small of a channel, they care. I doubt that they're asking like Candace or Coach or Baron to not play any parts of their videos, because obviously that's like, but this is free publicity too. I mean, I've told you guys when I played their stuff, anytime I play anyone's stuff, I say, this is who they are. Go to their channel, subscribe and like. So I don't know. Hopefully they get back to me and, are like, oh, okay, now that I know, da 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 da. We'll see though. I don't know. We'll see what they say. All right, let me finish playing Jimmy Dore. But that's why, like, anytime I play someone's content, I always did, I pause it. You got to pause it and you got to add commentary. You can't play anyone else's content just full form. You can't uninterrupted. You have to like pause it and do stuff. A lot of people criticize me for doing that. You have to. Many of you guys were there when I was doing the live, Tucker Carlson video with Huckabee, and it stopped our stream,
Listen to him.
Hey guys, I'm here in DC trying to speak out against the Senate and ask them why they're going to send our men and women to harm's way when our elected officials said that there would be no war. Anybody who feels disillusioned and betrayed by our government You're not alone. Join us in demanding accountability for this betrayal. Free Palestine, free America. Let's go.
So he went in. So religious fanatic Zionist Tim Sheehy. Here he goes. I want to see it. Here it goes.
Oh my gosh. As a Marine, stand up for America. No one
Poor guy.
wants to fight
Oh my God, his hand is
for
stuck.
Israel.
Yes.
So they just broke his hand.
Oh my God. They want to kill more soldiers. What does this
Right,
mean?
they don't care.
The senator broke his hand. The senator broke his hand.
Oh my goodness. Ugh. I can't. That is just insane. All right, let me get to some of the other super chats. We're at 2.5 hours, guys. You guys are all really troopers. Okay, I got through everyone's super. Let me see if there's any comments. Let me go to the bottom and make sure I'm caught up. We should all leave a comment for Adflea about Matt being a nice guy. And wait, why didn't Matt being a nice guy and that he was praising their work. Thank you, Alka. Yeah, you should. maybe they won't try to strike the channel. I think if you get 3 strikes, you're out. I don't know. Yeah, there is no First Amendment anymore. Lots of Marines speaking out. Yeah. I would say like most veterans I know, me included, after Iraq and Afghanistan, like we all realized like it was all BS. And this is the same thing. It's the same thing. And people like Graham, Gary, attacking Megan for saying what all the veterans I know are not in support of this at all, and do not think that any current active duty servicemen and women should lose their lives for Philly in Iran or in a base near Iran, because that's kind of what's happening right now. No, I'm not. I'm not saying boycott them. I still like their stuff. Hopefully, once they respond to my email to them, maybe it can be remedied. Hopefully, I mean, I kind of knew after. So that was the video I'm talking about. I got a message. After that, I haven't played any of their stuff. I can't even play like the video portion because it's all proprietary. They own it. It's copyrighted, the video and the audio. I just don't know how some of these bigger platforms are playing it. I guess they're okay with it. Because you get a thing in your profile, your content creator profile, anytime someone uses your stuff, which is good for you though. So I mean, like I would never, unless someone tried to use it and say it was theirs, or if they try to use it and say something negative about us or the channel, or make it sound like we were saying something we weren't. But yeah. Let's see. I'm not sure why y'all aren't using your Second Amendment. Oh, Alka, are you in Australia? We're not. I mean, people are getting closer to to that point. But the thing is, once it gets to that point, it's bad. Then the war's not only over there, now we're having a civil war. And I think people want to avoid that at all costs. And I don't think, I'm praying that that doesn't have to happen. So anything else before we sign off? After I sit for a while, my bottom hurts, and I'm sitting on 2 pillows on top of a cushy chair that my wife bought me a long time ago for my office. And it's a comfy chair, but man, after sitting for a long time, my lower back, because I've had 2 back surgeries and a bunch of surgeries on my left tibia. So after sitting for a long time, it's like, oh, I want to go lay down. And I still need to eat dinner. I need to eat dinner and shower. Let's see. Some creators just need to, what is that? Need to humble themselves. I've never seen you not give credit to other creators. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Dude, Ish has gotten way out of hand. I don't get how any of this is being allowed to happen. Like, we're not even pretending it's America first anymore. Not at all. I agree with you, Aaron. Australia had, their gun rights taken away in 1996. Yeah, and they've been trying to do that here. I really think that's what the mass shootings are. The school shootings has all been an attempt to strip us of our civil rights. I mean, not our civil rights. Man, it's been a long day. Hope you can collab with Blake again. Yes, we are. Yeah. Did you guys like the collab with Blake? Can you guys say yes, yay or nay in the chat? I thought it went great. Yeah, Blake and I we're in communication every day. It's really, really cool. We're definitely going to continue to collab. Me and him just need to figure out different, like me creating the link on some, him on some, like taking turns and doing, but we're already planning, I think one, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen again. We won't let that happen to Matt. I'd hate that. We love you. We love you. I love you guys too. You guys are awesome. Literally the best community out here. Create a second backup channel. I'll keep saying it till he sees it. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know a lot of people that do. Also some suggestions, tips, so you don't get data harvested by, well, Blake has given me suggestions on, my own server, backing things up, especially once I get access to a lot of stuff for him and I to do investigations and stuff together and separately and then collab. Definitely already working on protecting myself and this channel and the content. So 100%. Yes, collab. Okay, collab with Black Scout. I'll reach out. Some of the much bigger channels, every time I've reached out, they've all said no. They've all said no. And then they go do collabs with other people. Other small channels, some channels smaller than this one, which is a bummer, Matt, let's see. Matt, you read my comment. Laugh out loud. I'm new here. Well, I've been watching you, not creepily though, for a while now, but this is my first time in the chat. Well, I'm glad you've joined, Aaron. Welcome to the team. This is probably, in my opinion, I might be biased, but I think one of the best communities out there, which is so cool. Yeah, I'm stoked. I look forward to, even on days I'm exhausted, to doing a live because I get to interact with you guys. It feels like we're all hanging out. I see your little handles, like your pictures and then your names, and I get to read your comments. And I know it's just me talking and reading them, but it feels like we're all in this together. Pull the military card. Yeah, I know, right? Yes, I know. Yay for Aaron. I agree. Let's see. Blackline Crew, American Lynn. Keep trying. Oh, wait. Keep trying. Coach Colin will be fun. All right, I'll reach out to Coach. He's one I haven't reached out to yet, but literally everyone else in the space. Well, no, I didn't reach out to Baron and Candace. That's like, they're way too big. They wouldn't do anything with me. Okay, chat. Let's see. Chat. Would y'all show Matt and the channel some love and go over to last night's collab with West Texas, is the best Texas with Blake, and hit the like and leave a comment? We suspect it's being suppressed. Yeah. If you were to look at like all of my previous content, all the videos, how it does with views, comments, and likes, they're all pretty consistent. They're like 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. Some are higher. I have one that's over 100,000. But last night's in the hundreds. His end too. His side is low as well. So it's super weird. And also tonight, please hit the like and the subscribe if you haven't done so already. And anytime after a live chat, when after we sign off, if you hop over to the video, just leave a very basic comment like great stream, great content, love your channel, just like 3 words. It helps because we don't get the channel and the video doesn't get credit for the live comments, the live chat. And so, yeah, hopping over there and giving a comment helps the video boost and get reach to more people, which helps the channel. Okay. All right. I think too many people were watching Baron. I know. Yeah, we started too early and it was a long day yesterday. I agree that part of it had to do with that. But even still, even when my videos would always catch up the next day, like the next day, because we have over, and that's the other thing. So the channel had been growing consistently about 100, 120 new subscribers a day. After last night's video, the subscriber count flatlined and it's not been going up. Which I mean, it could be like nothing. But 7.3, I've been in the 300s now for going on 48 hours, which is just, not typical because like the last 28 days, let's see if I can zoom in on that. The last 28 days, we've gone up 5,850 subscribers in 28 days, which is amazing, but it's been consistent. It's like 100 plus a day, every day for the last 28 days. And as of the last 48 hours, flatlined. And then last night's video didn't do. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good live. I thought there was no real awkward, like long silences, pauses. Blake and I both really know this situation, right? The Charlie Kirk assassination, everything that preceded September 10th, everything that happened on that day, all the different individuals involved, and then everything that's happened since. And so both of us have a lot of, understanding and knowledge about it. And I thought it was a great live. And I mean, if you go read some of the comments that are there and from everything that I've heard, everyone thought it was really good and loved it and want more. So then it begs the question, then why would it not do good the following day? I could get that Barron was still live. He did a long live yesterday. Candace did hers. People were probably on their phones for a long time by the time they got to me. Well, but by the next day, people that were too tired or didn't watch it would have watched it this morning or this afternoon or this, But anyway, all right. Thank you guys so much for all your love and support. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for everything. Okay. God bless you guys. Get good night's sleep. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay tuned for the thumbnail and the title for tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a collab with Blake either tomorrow or Saturday. Okay. Bye, you guys. Have a good night. God bless you guys.